Morning, Rick.
Well, thank you, Carl. Congressman Michael Grimm, Republican, New York, welcome. Yesterday, you made big news. You know, earlier in the day, I talked to James Catoulis, who represents many MF investors that still haven't gotten their money back. And, of course, we're talking about MF Global, the Halloween surprise, 7th largest bankruptcy by assets in U.S. history. Can you tell me what letter you circulated yesterday and what it may mean for this investigation?
Sure. It's very simple. We're calling on the Attorney General to put in place a special prosecutor. There are so many different things surrounding MF Global that I believe public perception is that it's been, the system is compromised. And I think that it makes a lot of sense right now to give a special prosecutor an opportunity to come in and give, if nothing else, the public an opportunity to believe that there is a fair system in place and that someone is going to protect these customers. There's just too many things that have gone on that lead to the inference of impropriety, and for that reason, a special prosecutor is certainly warranted.
Well, Congressman, I certainly hear about the perception of conflict of interest on this floor, and I think just to get the viewers up to speed, let's run through it real quick who some of these characters are. Of course, we have Governor and Senator John Corzine, who is a bundler for the current president, but also was one of the co-authors of Sarbanes-Oxley. He had some help with that from Gary Gensler. They both happened to be at Goldman. Gary Gensler is head of the CFTC. It was on his watch that MF went down. He recused himself, and that really caused the glide path of this investigation, or this bankruptcy, I should say, to move more in a securities avenue than a futures avenue. Also, we're talking about regulatory capture because Mr. Gensler, according to Bart Chilton, found Corzine a very tough foe when it came to changing rules. So they bent a lot of rules that they could invest in European. Well, they changed. Rule 125, they were allowed to invest in Europe. Now, these are some of the allegations. Do you have any more you want to add or comment on the ones I'm throwing out there?
I think that you just hit on something that's extremely important. Rule 1.25, July 20th, is when Mr. Corzine had a conversation or a conference call not only with the chairman, Gensler, but also then later with Commissioner Chilton. And that was the same day that the CFTC then decided to pull those rules and to put them on ice. But yet, after the collapse, within 5 weeks of the collapse of MF Global, they implemented those rules. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, that people don't have confidence. The other problem here is no one's been speaking about the bankruptcy. When you look at the bankruptcy, this is 36,000 accounts were under the CFTC's purview. Only 318 were brokerage accounts. But yet it didn't go under a SIPA bankruptcy. It went under a SIPA bankruptcy, not a CFTC bankruptcy, which put all of the customers in a much worse position, because now they're being treated like they are creditors and they're going to be fighting to try to get their money from Europe. That should never have happened, and I think we've learned our lesson from Bear Stearns, as well as I'm trying to think now, the other firm there, Lehman Brothers, where it takes years to deal with these foreign courts, and these segregated accounts never should have been put in that position.
Well, a lot of people down here agree with that. Real quickly, let's talk about the process. Is the number of signatures you amass what triggers this, or does Eric Holder have the final say-so? What would it take to actually go from the letter, the signatures, to actually appointing an independent counsel?
Eric Holder is going to have the final say-so, but what we're hoping here is that we're going to have overwhelming support. I know that we're going to have a lot of support on the Republican side. I've already spoken to a lot of my colleagues that agree with me, but I'm really hopeful that this will be bipartisan, because this is something that affects the integrity of the markets. We cannot play games with our market integrity, and I just had Chairman Shapiro in front of my committee and asked about the bankruptcy issues, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't very happy with the answers. So I think that everyone out there on the street throughout the world that wants to invest in the United States has to have confidence that regulators can't come in and change the rules or decide bankruptcies in a way that are going to put them at a disadvantage, because that certainly goes to the integrity of our markets. And that's why I think we'll have a lot of bipartisan support, especially considering all the things going on. And you already mentioned, having Corzine as one of the top bundlers for the President of the United States while this investigation is going on certainly sends a wrong message, I think, to the entire world.
Well, Congressman, thank you for being on, and I hope you'll come back when we move to the next phase of what your letter may begin. Thank you.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Carl, back.